Welcome back to another presentation of Infinite Stories, the tool I've been working on for quite some time. It is designed to let you write infinite stories, explore existing infinite stories, and choose your own adventure as you go. Last time we looked into the tale of Jens, right? The short tale. And let me actually quickly zoom in a little bit so it's better to see. Something like this, I think is good. Now, with the story, we could just continue from here, but I want to actually present a feature that I'm very proud of because I'm really not that good at UI design, right? It's workable, of course. You can read the text, you can do whatever you want with it, but it is, let's call it plain. So I come up with a solution, and I'm not sure if everyone will like it, but I certainly do, and I hope a lot of UX designers will also learn to love it over time. Now let's quickly open it up, and you can see at the top right here that there's this, I don't know, button with the icon in. And what it does is it's actually opening up the designer, which is like its own whole feature. And here we have a lot of options to basically design the page in the way that we want it. And to give you a quick overview of what's possible, just to show something with is themes, and I did one which was for like a medieval background where I read a story or created a story about like castles and such, and I thought, well, why not have like a preset for this? But for general reading, I do often like to use this one, and it gives you a quick overview of what are the changes, but you can't see it that well, right? Um, but this is all work in progress, as you can see, but it does still show us what's possible. So let's use this preset, and as you can see, a lot of things already changed, right? It is a new background. It is on the side a bit opaque, I think is the word. And it is centered here, for example. And some people might prefer this, some people might prefer the default one. So let's quickly reset it all to default and try our hands on specific change. Now, assuming I want to change the title here, this is one of the titles, right? And it is not the designer title, but the chat title, right? And we could actually change like the base title, which would then inherit, no, the other way around. The others would inherit from base title, but just to change a specific one, the chapter title, we can change it right here. And we do have the presets from the themes, right? And I could just use this one from the medieval theme and just select the theme, or reset everything again and use just this preset for the chapter title, right? It's a bit more fancy. It helps us to convey a specific thing, but again, just something I used in a previous time, and I'll quickly reset it to show you the capabilities. Now let's switch to general design, right? And we can see here what is possible, like changing classes for text, border, layout, and so on, or removing everything active with like a very shorthand method. Now, for everyone familiar with UX design, you might see these classes that are already the Tailwind classes. They are great, by the way. So they do a tremendous job of creating options for people to change their design of a web page without much effort. The classes themselves by Tailwind. And for everyone who's unfamiliar with this, basically every web page in that you can browse, like for example even Google or Amazon or whatever you can find on the internet, usually consists of two elements, which is the HTML page, which basically holds all the text information, everything that is like the content of the page, something like this, right? And then a CSS sheet, which is a style sheet that describes how it should look. And the description here is done with either specific styles or classes that combine multiple styles or just singular styles. and then we can access them and use them by simply changing something on the web page. And since a lot of this is already existing, and I thought it would be fun to actually be able to change everything, I basically build it exactly like this. So we can see currently this is the title, right? And it does have like 3 active classes. I can just quickly remove them so we see what it looks like, right? It was a bigger text. Well, gray and black do look quite similar, so we can't see that much of a difference, but bold should be visible. Now it's back, and I can also just reset it, of course, if the changes I don't like. Now, for other changes, like for example the text, there's a lot more that we could actually change. Like for example the font, right? Could be a bit whimsical, right? It could also be a bit scratchy, maybe scary, who knows? Could be for a horror story. And if we're in a horror story, maybe we also include some kind of shadowing and make it, I don't know, let's go with a scary dark red here, right? But actually this is not that well readable, so maybe not that great of a design if I'm being honest. Now I can just reset it all back again, and we can see here again the old classes. But there's a lot more that we could discover here, right? So we could do something like actual display changes, right? Doing, this is more technical, but doing some absolute display, relative display, you can see that it's basically now outside of the box. There are a lot of different options how we could use these, right? We could also put an opacity on it for whatever reason you might want that. We could even change the cursor, right? Just hovering over it. Now we get the cursor weight. But that doesn't make too much sense, so I just remove it. And if we think about classes in general, there are a lot more things that we can do. Like for example, hover modifiers, right? Hovering over something means we have the mouse inside it. And for me, if it's inside it, well, maybe let's go with a transition of 200, what is it called? Milliseconds. We are transitioning basically everything. And we could do also something about the timing, but that's unimportant for now. And let's say we want to change the text letter spacing over time. Right, you can see that it's not just instantly changed, but over time. But 200 is maybe not fast enough, so let's go with 1 second duration, and we want to make it a bit wider. And let's also go with a color, changing it to maybe blue. So this is now changed, and if we hover over it, we see it is doing exactly what we want. Great stuff already, right? And now if we think, all right, this is already awesome, which I definitely do because it took me a lot of time and I actually like playing around with it quite a bit. But let's reset it for a moment. It's back. And we switch to the manual input. Here we could even write some actual CSS extension, do some specific style property changes, all very technical, so really not that important. But basically, we do have a lot of options here that we could do directly. Now, if we think further about it, there is still a lot of possibility, but let's maybe show a specific change that I personally like to do quite often, and that is changing a background image. Now, the page background, or is it maybe the background of the reading area, right? Just chapter display. These are all different sections of this and can be designed individually if you want to, but let's just go with the page background, manual input, and use a background specific option, which is just giving it an image background. This would be a hassle to actually include by hand, so I created a small helper here. So if you find a background you like, you copy the image address, paste it inside, it's trying it out, and you can use it. You do need to apply these changes here because you can do a lot of wrong with it. So we can't see it yet, but there it is. Designer done. Now you have an awesome background in it and can read like this. But it can also do a bit more, right? So maybe we want a GIF as background, and everyone should be familiar with this one by now. So I just use it, paste it, right? Apply it, close it, and well, I could have framed this a little bit better, but you can now see it is possible. Really distracting with the stars, by the way, so I really don't want this to be used, but the possibility is there, and there are a lot of GIFs on the internet, so you could choose your own. You could do basically whatever you want if you have the time and willingness to dig into all of these options. I mean, there is even something like a global style extension that we actually would like to use in certain cases, which does have a lot of animations possible. I don't know if you are familiar with Animate CSS. It's a great library and it helps you animate a lot of different things if you want that, right? So a pulse could be added quite simply, and the class name could just be added, and we can basically apply them wherever we want to apply them. But I reset everything because this would get way too complicated if we dig into everything. But that's it. That's the designer, and it does have a lot more options, so please don't hesitate to ask about them. I'm very willing to explain, extend, or just talk about it a bit more because I was very frustrated at one point where I tried to come up with a design that I like, and I really, I mean, again, it's passable, it's working, but not that great. And just for everyone wondering, the sun has to do with it itself. So of course we do have a dark mode, which looks passable again. And you could, right, change everything in the dark mode to your liking as well. So let's switch it back. Everything to default. Ask your questions if anything comes up. And don't hesitate to reach out to me. Have a great day. Bye.